Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? Your girl Tally. Let me try to get straight to the point. I just want to say that I am no kind of financial expert. That's not my lane, really. That's not my field. It's just that I've been inducted into the field, and now I'm seeing things and I'm being exposed to a different level of financial literacy. And just because of the person I am, I just grasp things really fast. And after I grasp it, I just want to distribute it out to the people, the knowledge, the wisdom out to the people that I know that need it. And that's why I make these videos. I also have another video that you probably need to watch together with this video. It's called "You Pay for Your Lack of Knowledge," and that's why I'm pretty much dedicated to releasing the knowledge I do have and going to acquire more knowledge, because we really do pay for what we don't know, and we don't even know that we're paying for it. But you see that your finances is not right, and you're in a hole and you're trying to dig yourself out of it. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you feel like it's just not improving. It's because of what you don't know that has you in that area. So I posted some things on my Instagram. My Instagram is the same as Tally Cigarelli, my name that you see at the bottom of this video. So if you want to find me on Instagram, follow me. I post more on my stories than anything, then that would be great. So I posted on my stories because right now I just have the privilege of, like I said, working around people, and they're predominantly millionaires. And I know this because I see the account balances that verify that this person is in fact a millionaire. So I'm not talking out of my butt. And there's just a few things that I have recognized that people who are financially literate do. The first thing what did I say? I say that most of them, because there's different points that we have to ask for their occupation, and not that we know that they're telling the truth all the time, but the question, when we ask for the occupation, the answer I get most often from literally all of them is real estate. So people who acquire that wealth, who acquire a different level of money, they got that money going, that money flow, and they just on a different level, a different income bracket. They are in, I'm not saying that's the only field, but for me, I'm working around regular millionaires. So they're not entertainers, they're not influencers, they're just people who either they just inherited it from their parents, or they built it up on their own. And the way I see that money was acquired, whether it was inherited or it was built up, the way I see it was acquired was through real estate. So real estate, I don't know really nothing about real estate, but for those of you who that's a path that you want to embark on, you want to learn more about the field, maybe one day I'll go and try to learn more about that too. I could see that happening. It's a good path. All right. So, and don't be thinking with that scarcity mindset where you're thinking like, oh, they bought up everything, there's nothing worth acquiring no more. Go. I don't care who all doing real estate. I don't care what's bought up. I don't care about nothing. If that's something that you want to do, go and do it. That's one. Two, I see that billionaires, they're not using their debit card. I think debit card might be a middle class poor people thing. I didn't know this. I think this is common knowledge in people who are financially literate. This is common knowledge, but this is not common knowledge to people who are not financially literate. And what it is that they do not pay bills with their actual cash money, cash flow. We're paying bills with our actual cash flow, so we don't have enough money to even cover all them bills. Our account is going into the negative, and then it's just looking crazy for us. They link their bills and they pay their bills on a credit card. So when you grow up and you're not financially literate, you don't know that you don't know the optimal use for a credit card. And when I say optimal, I mean the best use for it, how to use it and things like that. You don't know how to do it, and you just end up buying things that you want, and not things that you need, but things that you want using a credit card. And that is our mistake. That is a poor people mistake, to spend all your cash flow on your needs. Therefore, you're spending all your cash. You don't even have enough, but you're spending it all, and your account is going into the negative. And with the money that you're spending, it's not even being used it's not even like building your credit, right? Because they put their bills on these credit cards, because when they pay it off at the end of every month, because that's what they do, they pay it off at the end of every month. That is building your credit. So that is using your bills to build your credit. You put it on a credit card. Now, a lot of us already done messed up with that, because we already done had plenty of credit cards. We done maxed it out with things that we don't even need, just things that we want, just shopping, showing out, trying to be something that we're not. So we got a whole bunch of credit cards with high balances that are not even paid off, and then we getting charged the interest, got to pay back more than we even borrowed. And that is like the debt trap that people get trapped in, which is just sad, when really it's just that, let's say you just get a paycheck. Let's say your paycheck is $1,000, and let's say by some miracle your paycheck is $1,000. I know your bills is not going to be $1,000, right? Your bills is probably going to be $2,000. But let's say by some miracle you get a check. Let's just be basic. You get a check for $1,000. Say your bills are $900. You put that $900 on a credit card. At the end of the month, you use that money to pay off your credit card. And then let's say you use that money to pay off that credit card. So not only, the most important part about that is that now you're building your credit with bills. You're using bills to build your credit, and you're not accruing any interest. So you're not paying back any interest, because you're paying your card back at the end of the month. So it doesn't build, so you're not paying any interest on your bills if you pay it back at the end of the month, right? And that's something that we just completely miss. We completely miss using credit cards, using bills, putting it on a credit card, and using that to build your credit score and maintain a high credit score. That's something that, you feel me? That's something that's genius. And I believe many people even know about this, but there's a group of us, a large group of people who don't know about it. And we're using credit cards to purchase wants, and using all our cash flow on the needs. We're using all our cash on the needs. So we cut off the cash flow. We don't even have enough. That account goes into overdraft. It goes into the negative, because the cash that you had wasn't even enough. And when you're using your cash flow, you're not building your credit. So you're not building your credit. It doesn't affect your credit anyway. So now that's an opportunity that you missed to build your credit. And not only that, because you ran out of cash, now you have to use your credit card, and you're using your credit card for things that you don't even need, and you won't even be able to pay it back, and you're not going to be able to pay it off at the end of the month, accruing interest and maxing out your credit cards. This is how we go into that debt. Now, another thing, the two things that I see millionaires, another thing, millionaires, I don't see them use their debit card. A lot of them don't even want a debit card. When they open up a new account, a lot of them don't want a debit card. There's millionaires who don't even know what really a debit card is. Like, what is a debit card? Like, when they ask for a debit card, it be out of nowhere, and it's like, they don't really know what a debit card is. Why? Because they put all their expenses on the credit card, and then they just make a transfer, a payment on their credit card to pay off all their expenses. Now, the two things that I see that they use their account for mainly, and when I say account, I'm talking about cash flow. Their checking account that actually has cash in it, So the main things they use that for is to pay off that credit card at the end of the month. So that's what they do. Like, it's still, some people might get confused, because it's kind of like still using your actual cash flow to pay off the debt, but because they're paying it off like that, they're building a credit score. So building a credit score, anybody who knows about credit score, you know that's one of the most important things financially, like in life. You know what I'm saying? So building a credit score is important. So that's why they, instead of just paying bills with cash money or paying bills with money out of a checking account, I know I keep saying this, but I'm saying this for you people, so people can understand. Not everybody understands at the same pace. So instead of paying bills with cash money, cash flow, they pay it on a credit card, and they pay the credit card back at the end of the month so they could build their credit. Most important thing. So that's one of the two things they use their checking account for, to pay credit card balance off in full at the end of every month. That builds your credit. Number two, the other thing I see them use the checking account for, and none of this requires a debit card, because if you have a checking account, all you do is make a transfer to pay for payment, or you do an automatic debit and it automatically gets the money out of your account. So that's why they don't use a debit card. So the second thing they use the cash flow, which is the checking account for, is to pay the mortgage. Now, paying your mortgage, not only does that contribute to your good credit, but now when they're willing to pay their mortgage payment with their actual cash flow, because when you pay your mortgage, that's something that you own. If you have a mortgage, that means you own that house, you own that apartment, you own that condo, whatever you own it. So you're really paying yourself, because now you're building equity, right? Because when you pay into a mortgage, you're paying to something that you own. It's gonna be yours. So now it's like putting the money in a savings account. So you're paying, and you're building equity. So equity is, all the amount that you already paid off on your house, the amount that's already paid off, you have that's yours. So that's why, that not only that's building credit, that's building equity right there, and that's building credit and equity. And that's the only thing that comes out. That's the only thing they use their cash flow for. Oh, that's three things they use their cash flow. There's three things. So they use their cash flow for the build credit by paying off, build credit by and maintaining a high credit score by paying off their credit cards, by linking bills to their credit card and paying off that credit card at the end of every month. Two, paying into their mortgage, because that's equity and credit. And now it's just like a savings account, because you're paying into a house that you're own. So that money is in the house. It's there. Anytime you need to sell the house or get some money from it, it's yours. So you can do that because you're giving money to yourself, basically, when you own something and you paying it off. I don't know if you understand that, but hey, that's what it is. Three, the last thing that they use their checking account for, really. All right. And I see them sometimes come in if they need cash, they pull out some cash from their checking account, every now and then. That's another thing. That's like a fourth thing. But the other thing they're going to use their cash flow for is now, after they pay down their credit cards at the end of their month, after they make their mortgage payment, the money that's left over, it is stored in either a high interest checking account. All right. It's a checking account, but it's an interest bearing checking account, because they have a certain amount of funds in it that the bank says, okay, we'll give you interest on this. Boom. That's liquid. So it's a good thing. When I say liquid, that means they're able to pull the money out at any time. It's liquid. Easily and fast, liquid. All right. Or they have it in a money market savings, which generally brings in more like a higher interest rate than maybe a checking account, a high interest checking account. Not always, but sometimes. A money market. And these are all things you could go to the bank and sit down with a banker and request. But people don't know this, because there's certain people that are locked out of this information. We have been disenfranchised from this information, so we don't know this. So that's why I'm giving you the game. So you could go sit down at your bank and record it. But let me tell you, there's some money market savings, it requires like $25,000 to open it. But there's some that requires $1,000. There's some that requires $5,000. So you never know. You got to go sit down with your bank, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Right now, interest rates, you should get an interest rate between 4 and 5%. This lady, she has about $300,000 in her money market savings account, and you could open a business. You could open a personal or a business under money market, and then her interest that she's getting back, her interest is like $1,400 a month. Every month she's making on that. So that's something you can make. But like I said, the leftover money, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. The leftover money after bills are paid, after the mortgage is paid, that money goes into a high interest checking, stays in the high interest checking account and accrues interest for you. You make money on your money, or you could put in a money market savings, or if you have money that you don't need to touch for a year, because CD accounts, those things go for like 11 months. I've seen them go for 11 months, maybe longer, and they give you a certain interest rate. It's usually like locked in at this certain amount, but you leave your money in there for that time period, 11 months, and you can pull that money out, but you have a penalty. Like, they will subtract money from the money that you put in if you try to pull it out earlier than what y'all agreed on. So if you have money that you don't feel like touching for 11 months, go ahead and put it into a CD account. But if you try to pull it out early, there's absolutely gonna be a penalty. So you don't want to so you don't want that. So make sure it's money that you don't want, that you're not trying to touch for a while, up to a year. So that's something that I see. That's the three things that I see that financially savvy people, literate people, and quite frankly, millionaires are doing with their money that we don't know. And I just got to throw this on top of that. We have a culture. All right, and people who know this culture, they gonna know. If you know, you know. We have a culture where we trying to show a lot. We trying to impress people. We trying to have the flyest this, the flyest that, the flyest cars, the flyest clothes. We have a culture of that. People who are not financially savvy, people who could be struggling and broke, but they just trying to show they got it. I'm telling you, all that flexing and stuff like that, that is a poor people's sport. Flexing, trying to have be the best dress, the best drip, trying to I hear some people don't even like to rewear clothes. Like, you post it on Facebook or you post it on Instagram, you can't never wear it again. I'm telling you right now, that is a poor people's sport. Unless you are an entertainer or you are an influencer, there's no reason for you to do that, unless you just want to waste money and you want to waste your resources. Because I'm telling you right now, I rarely see the millionaires that I'm dealing with, that I deal with every day. They are not, sorry guys, I got cut off. But what I was saying is, all that flexing, all that things that some of us like to do, bro, I'm telling you, it's not worth nothing. It's not worth nothing. And it's hard to break out of that cycle and that culture when you in it and you've seen so much of it, and that's how you've been operating for a long time. But it's really time for us to break out of that, and this is just free game that I'm giving. This is just free game that I'm giving. Things that I've learned. I'm going to continue to learn more, and I'm going to share it with you guys, because that's what I do. Period. But for real, those is 3 gems right there. All right, so let's do a little recap. So basically, the 3 things that ideally financially literate people use their cash flow for. 1, to pay credit cards down, and these credit cards, they're not full of brunch dates and clothes and shoes. The credit cards that they're paying down at the end of every month is all their bills, their household bills. They pay it down at the end of the month. 2, what else they do? They pay their mortgage payment. And paying your mortgage, like I said, is just like paying yourself. It's like your house is a savings account, because you pay it. That's you own it. Now you're one step closer to ownership. 3, the rest of the money that's left over, they put it in interest-bearing accounts. And interest-bearing accounts are accounts that pay you interest depending on the type of a percentage. Interest is a percentage, so they're paying you interest, which is a percentage based on the money that you have in that account. 3 things that we should be using our accounts for. Okay, yeah, if you need a little cash for something, you pull the cash out. But debit cards apparently is not even necessary. Even if you have like a really quick expense, you would still put that on your credit card. It may not be a bill, but it's like a quick expense. You feel me? You put that on the credit card, and the trick is to really pay that credit card down, because that's another way that people get trapped. So people use that method, putting bills on their credit card, and the discipline that you need is to take that cash flow, the money that you have in your account, and actually pay off that balance, so you don't accrue interest, you don't accrue what is that called, you build up your credit score, you don't accrue interest, and you don't have high balances. Would also bring down your credit too. When you have high balances over 30% is the key. All right, guys. But if your expenses are, if charging all your bills to your credit card would take up more than 30%, it's okay, because it's not going to be reported if you pay that down by the end of the month, right? Exactly. So I hope the little knowledge that I have will help you out. Hopefully there's more to come. I'm giving away the game. Love you guys. Bye.